With the news that Ange Postecoglou has taken charge at Spurs, we thought it was a good idea to run a 4-year simulation to see how he gets on. He has, of course, signed a 4-year contract in real life, and as a Spurs fan myself, as I'm sure you're probably aware, I'm actually quite looking forward to this appointment. I think he will do good things for the club. So let's get a closer look at the manager himself. So as you can see, looking at his stats and his attributes here, Postecoglou does like to play very much a 4-3-3 system. He likes 4 at the back, defensive midfielder, 2 centre midfielders, 2 wingers and a striker up front. He does prefer a gegenpress system. He does play a standard passing style, of course, an attacking mentality with much more pressing. As you can see from his stats, they are pretty good. He's good at motivating, he's good at people management, good at judging players' abilities and potential, and has a very good tactical knowledge as well. Having a quick look at the Spurs team, as you can see, first of all, we've custom kits in there. So Postecoglou has been appointed manager. Hugo Lloris still there as captain. With thanks to the guys on the FM23 website, we have downloaded the latest database, the live database update. So we are actually starting this game on the Monday, the 5th of June. 2023, and as you can see, the final table is complete. Southampton, Leeds, Leicester all relegated, and Spurs, of course, finishing in 8th position. There is no European football for them at the start of the new season. Having a quick look at the squad itself, as you will be aware, of course, all the regular players are there. Nothing too surprising, really. We do have a number of players coming back, obviously, from their loan spells, so it'll be interesting to see who Postecoglou moves out first of all, brings in secondly, and we'll look to see if he can gain any success in the 4 years in charge. So let's fast forward to the end of season 1 to see how he got on. So season 1 has come to an end, and the first thing we notice is that Spurs have played that little bit better in the league this season. They have finished in 7th. Granted, it is only 1 place higher, but they have qualified for the Europa League, which is, as a Spurs fan again, is pleasing to see that they're back in Europe. In the FA Cup, they were knocked out in the 3rd round, the first entry round, by Leicester. And the Carabao Cup, they did get the semi-final, where they've lost to Brighton. As we see there, 2-0 on aggregate, 1-0 in both the games. Quick look at the FA Cup 3rd round, and where is Spurs v Leicester? Leicester beat them 1-0 as well. So fairly narrow losses there. As you see from the season guide there, they stayed in 4th for quite a bit. They dropped down then to 7th, and that's where they remained. That's about game week 28, 29 perhaps. They were doing pretty well. At one stage they were up in 2nd. Stayed in 4th for quite a bit, and then just dropped down in the last few games. But they qualified for Europe, and as I say, as a Spurs fan, that's the main thing. That's what we want to see. Having a look at the squad itself, and we'll go into the transfers in just a few minutes. As we see, in terms of goals, Harry Kane is on the bench here. He did play 34 games all season. He's obviously had an injury there. He did score 15 goals. We see Heung-min Son has also scored 12 goals, and Dejan Kulusevski has also scored 12 goals as well, and a number of goal contributions from various other players as well. Even Richarlison scored 5 goals in the first season. So having a look at the transfers that they made in the first season, obviously Kulusevski and Pedro Porro came in permanent deals that we were already aware of. Yuri Tielemans has come in on a free transfer. Amin Aguirre has come in for a fee of 48 million, rising up to 60 million. A very good player I do like very much. As you can see here, he's got very, very good stats. He can play up front and he can play wide left, which is mainly where he plays. 60 million is an awful lot of money, though. I'm not sure if I would have paid that for him. We've brought in Juan Pablo Vargas as well as a central defender. He's very good stats as well, so he does. We've brought in Dominic Grafe as well for goal. Obviously, in real life, Hugo Lloris is wanting to leave Spurs now. We do wish him all the best. So we've brought in a goalkeeper there for 1.3 million in total. This is not bad. We've also brought in Evangelos Pavlidis, who's a Greek striker. He's come in for quite a bit of money. He's come in for 11.5, raising up to 12.75 million. He's got pretty good stats as well. He's 25 years of age now, so he looks to be a pretty good buy. In terms of the outgoings, we have spent 127 million coming in. We have brought in only 9.5 million from the players that have left. Tanganga's gone on loan, Santiago's gone on loan, Brandon Austin, Mundell, sorry, Alfie Devine, Harvey White. Hugo Lloris has transferred to Newcastle for 325,000, recently 425,000. Brian Hill has gone on loan to Southampton. Ryan Sessegnon has been sold for 6.5 million, raising to 7.25 million. Davinson Sanchez to Porto on loan. Sergio Reguilon to Southampton on loan as well, along with his compatriot Brian Hill. So in the first season, Spurs have gone on pretty well there. They haven't done too bad. Harry Kane has been made captain in the departure of Hugo Lloris. Heung-min Son has been named as vice captain. Seems like a pretty natural step for both those players. It's something I certainly expect in real life next season when Hugo Lloris inevitably leaves during the summer. And I'm just going to put it out there, Harry Kane is staying. I have no doubts about that. So that's how we got on with Season 1. Let's fast forward another year into 2025 and see how we got on with Season 2. So Season 2 has come and gone, and Postecoglou has done okay. It's in the cup competitions, it has been very good. As we see here in the Europa League, we got the semi-final against Juventus. We did win 2-1 in Turin, but we did lose 2-0 at home, so we've lost there 3-2 on aggregate. And as you see, Juventus went on to beat Betis in the final. So we went out in the semi-final to the eventual winners. It's not too bad. We can't really complain about that. We've made a good account of ourselves in Europe. I keep saying us as if I'm the manager. It's Postecoglou is the manager. In the FA Cup, they've got to the semi-final, where, as you can see there, they've lost on penalties to Liverpool. Liverpool have gone on to win the final against Man City, also on penalties as well. So Spurs have done pretty well in the FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup, they've got to the quarterfinals, where they have lost there to Everton 2-0. Everton went into the semi-final, lost to Man United, who then lost to Liverpool in the final. So Liverpool have already wrapped up 2 of the cups. As you can see there, they finished second in the league, a full 10 points behind Manchester City. We're not really interested in that. What we're looking at is Spurs, and Spurs unfortunately have had a bit of a dip. They finished in 9th position in the league in the second season. They have scored 1 point more, so in a way they have improved a little bit. It just means they've drawn 1 game that they lost last year. But they have finished in 9th. 1 win. Looking at some of the teams that they've lost to there, I mean, the first thing is Fulham, possibly Everton, Crystal Palace. Everton have beaten them twice. Wolves, some of those games they could have at least got a win or a draw. An extra couple of points would have put them back into the European spots, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, in Postecoglou's second season. Looking at the squad again, we're having a look at the goal scorers charts. As we can see, Harry Kane played 58 games this season. He has scored 26 goals as well. Dejan Kulusevski coming in with 15 goal contributions as well. And Heung-min Son is here somewhere. He is injured. He contributed 14 goals for his injury. And quite a few goals coming from around the team as well. So looking at the transfer history, as we see, we brought in quite a number of players again. Spurs have spent 35.5 million. They've recouped only 26 million. So again, they're in the red a little bit. They brought in Andreas Noppert, another goalkeeper, has come in. This time he's come in from Heerenveen for a free transfer. They brought in Victor Guzman from Monterrey for 2.8, raising to 3.6 million. He is a centre back, as you'll see there. They brought in Andrea Carboni from Monza for 3.1 million, raising to 4 million. Another centre back again. A lot of changes going on in the defence. Spurs brought in Cesar Araujo, who is a central midfielder, defensive midfielder. Stats look pretty good. He's 24 years of age. He could potentially be a very good buy going forward. They also brought in Ademola Lookman on loan from Atalanta. He's 27 years of age now. He's brought him in a £58,000 a week contract. He looks okay. He's coming in on loan. There is a future fee to buy him in the agreement. And they've also brought in Silas Mvumpa, I'm going to say, who is a wide attacking player. Can play up front as well. Can play all the way as far back as right back also. He's 26 years of age. His stats look pretty good, so certainly one I'm going to keep an eye out for in the future. Very, very quick, so he is. A very fancy player as well, get a very high flair rating. Not so good at crossing, not so good at corners, not so good at dead balls, heading, things like that. But he's got good passing. He can take players on, and he's quick as well. So he's come in for 24 million. In the outgoings, Davinson Sanchez has made his loan move a permanent move for 5.5 million. Lucas Moura has left on a free. At the start of the game, Lucas Moura does have a 1-year extension. It looks like that Spurs have activated that at the start of this game. Harvey White's left on a free, Lucas Gunter's left on a free, Tanganga's gone to Crystal Palace for 9.75, raising to 12.25 million. Reguilon's gone on loan again, this time to Sevilla. Guzman came in and immediately went out on loan only a month later. Alfie Whiteman's out on loan, Troy Parrott's on loan to Sunderland, Tanguy and Ndombele. As a Spurs fan, we're all aware of Tanguy and Ndombele, what he's capable of and what he's not capable of. And a transfer fee of 3.3 million, raising to 4.1 million to Marseille. It's insulting, but the reason why it's insulting is because Spurs spent so much money on him, spent almost 60 million on him to bring him in, and it's just his attitude was never right. As a Spurs fan, I will be happy to see the back of him, which is not a pleasing thing to say, but I don't think he's that good for the club. As we see here, Joe Rodon has gone on loan. That does become a permanent transfer as well. Potentially there is an agreement in place. Andrea Carbone came in the summer window, has gone out on loan as well. Dean Scarlett's gone out on loan. Alfie Dorrington, another very good youngster. Evangelos Pavlidis has gone on loan to Shakhtar, which is a little bit surprising because he's also come in last year looking like a first team player. In January, Andrea Carbone was recalled, sent out on loan this time to Stuttgart. Jamie Donnelly's gone out on loan. Cesar Araujo, who came in the summer, has also gone out on loan. And he's the midfielder. Jet Spence has gone on loan. Mondel's gone on loan. And Casanova has gone on loan. So overall, Spurs have done pretty well. They've done very well in the cup competitions. They've got a quarter-final and 2 semi-finals out of 3. Have finished in 9th in the league, which is a little bit disappointing. So that means next season, season 3, there's going to be no European football for Spurs again. That'll be Postecoglou's second year out of 3 with no European football, which I'm sure Daniel Levy probably wouldn't take too kindly in real life. But we will fast forward another year and see how Postecoglou gets on at the end of season 3. So I have a small confession to make. When I was running the simulations, instead of saving season 3 as an individual file and season 4 as an individual file, I've accidentally saved the same file over it. So we don't have all the player stats from season 3, but we do have the league table and the transfers to go along with that. So as we can see here, Spurs at the end of season 3 have finished in 5th place. They have actually qualified for the Champions League by way of Manchester City winning the Champions League. So they finished in 5th place. They finished on 67 points, so a few more points again from the previous season. We'll have a look at the transfers that Spurs brought in season 3. If we just skip back here, as you can see, Ademola Lookman, his loan move was made permanent for a fee of 19 million. They brought in Ryan Ward from Atalanta, who is, as you see, a new gen player. He plays in the right wing. He came in for 2.5, rising up to £3.9 million. A big move Spurs have made here is they brought in Devin Wrench from Ajax. A very good player. All Football Manager players are aware of him, of course. Plays at centre back, plays at right back, can play at left back, can play central midfield, defensive midfield, right wing back. He's a bit of an all rounder when it comes to defence. He can even play in left wing back if really necessary. So very good player, very, very good stats. He's still only 24 years of age. I think in real life he's going to have a very good career ahead of him. But Spurs have brought him in for 40.5 million. They've also brought in Aryanet Muric from Al Duhal. He's, of course, former Man City goalkeeper. He's 28 years of age now. He will be 27 whenever he joins Spurs. Very, very good stats. So he does, you can see, one-on-ones, aerial reach, aggression, bravery, jumping reach. Very, very good goalkeeper. A player I definitely recommend signing. He's come in for 8.75 with an extra million in add-ons as well. Spurs have brought in Christian Oliveira from Genoa. He can play on the right or left wing. Reasonably good good with both feet as well. A player that played for Postecoglou in real life at Celtic, Lil Abada, is mainly a right winger, of course, can play up front as well. He is very, very quick. He's lightning quick down that wing. He has rejoined Postecoglou via going to PSG. He has come in on loan. We also brought in Takaya Saito, I think that is. Obviously a new gen player. He's a central defender. Very, very good stats as well. He's very, very quick. Good concentration, good teamwork, good heading. Not so much in the jumping reach. And he is only 5'9", but he's very good in the air. And this one, he came in for 2.5, rising up to 2.9 million. This next transfer is one I am not comfortable with as a Spurs fan. Is Matteo Guendouzi coming in for central midfield. He has come in for a fee of 45.5 million. That will raise up to 59 million. That is not something, as a Spurs fan, I would be happy to see. I wouldn't be happy to see him for free. But that's just because of my disdain for Arsenal and also for players with bad attitudes, which I think Guendouzi has in spades. But at the same time, looking at his attributes, he is a very, very good player. So that one doesn't quite sit well with me. In terms of incoming transfers, the Spurs have spent 124 million. In outgoings, they have only recouped 86 million. So there is a loss there of just under 40 million. Joe Rogan did make his loan move a permanent transfer for 19.75 million. Reguilon on loan at Sevilla last season has made his move permanent for 23 million. Mundell has joined Redden on a permanent deal. Vangelis Pavlidis has gone on loan to Real Valladolid. Another few loans for some of the young players as we come down here then to Brian Hill has gone to Shakhtar on loan. Emerson Royale has joined Benfica for 9 million with an extra 2 million in add-ons. Looking further down the list as well, not a lot of big movers or shakers. Oliver Skip has joined Fulham for 15.25 million, rising to 17. Eric Dyer has gone to Villa for 12.5, rising to 14 million. And the goalkeeper we brought in the first season, Dominic Grafe, has joined Bristol City for a deal of 2.7, rising up to 3 million. So that's how the season progressed for Spurs, that the transfers they brought in. We'll try and take a quick look at the FA Cup. I'm not sure if we will be able to get last season's progress. Let's get a quick check and see here. So last season, Spurs made it all the way to the quarter-final where they lost to Arsenal. It's a little bit disappointing. Arsenal then went on to lose to Newcastle, and Newcastle went on to the final to lose to Chelsea. In the Carabao Cup in the same season, Spurs made it all the way to the... that's the previous. Spurs made it all the way to the semi-final where they lost 5-0 on aggregate to Man United. They lost 1-0 at Old Trafford. They lost 4-0 at home to Man United, which is a very, very disappointing result. Man United went on to play Man City in the final. Man United won that on penalties. Let's have a look then at Season 4 and see how Spurs get on. So in Season 4, what is potentially Postecoglou's final league season with Spurs, given he has been given a 4-year contract. As we're having a look at the table here, they've dropped again a little bit. They've dropped from 5th down to 7th. They have scored more points again. They had 67 points last season. They've jumped up now to 69. Looking at the top 4 or 5 places there, you know, they're only 1 point off 5th place. They're only 3 points off 4th, 4 points off 3rd, and 7 points off 2nd. So again, a couple of draws. They drew 12 games. If they could have turned a few of those into wins, they might have done a lot better. Looking particularly at Burnley, Leicester, Southampton, Fulham, Aston Villa. So a few of those results, had they won a few of those games, they certainly would have done a lot better, potentially made a challenge. They did have a league high of 3rd during the season. They did drop out a little bit then, and it kind of went from there. In the FA Cup, they faced Arsenal again. It's 2 years in a row. They actually lost that on penalties, as you see there, and that was after a replay as well. So they did draw the first game. They had a replay, finished 1-1. Spurs lost in penalties. In the Europa League, or the Europa Conference League, let's get a little look and see where they've gone here. That has into the new season already, so we're not going to be able to have a look at that, but that's fine. So they've been entered into the Conference League there. In the Carabao Cup, however, Postecoglou has done the thing that all Spurs fans are wanting right now. Postecoglou has won a trophy, and I have to say I am absolutely delighted for him. And having a quick look at the player stats then for the season, again we're looking straight to Harry Kane, who scored only 16 goals this time. See there, Heung-min Son contributing with 13, and Dejan Kulusevski continuing to improve his goal scoring ratio every season, this time finishing with 19 goals. He is the season's top goal scorer for the club as well. There are a few players there you can see with big numbers. Guiri's gone out on loan, Pavlidis is out on loan, have scored a few goals, and again a fair contribution from other players around the team as well. Let's have a look at the transfers then for season 4. Spent 36.5 million, brought in 55 million, so they made a little bit of profit this year, almost a £20 million profit. Having a look at the players they brought in Fredrik Orsnes, I think is how that's pronounced. He is very, very good statistically, Norwegian central midfielder, playing defensive midfield as well. He's come in from Benfica. His stats are very good. He's very quick, he's very fit, he's aggressive, he's brave, makes good decisions, he's good teamwork, good concentration, good positioning, good passing. That's certainly a player I am going to be looking out for in future Football Manager games. They also brought in then Antonio Cardoso, who is a new gen as a central midfielder, can play wide, left and right as well. They brought in Nayan Perez, again central defender. He is very good statistically as well. He's quite aggressive on the ball, so he looks to be a good acquisition. He has come in on a loan for costing 1.9 million. As we see, he has a transfer arranged here, so he is joining the club permanently in the summer, at the end of this month. They have also brought in Tim Bergener, I'm going to say, who positionally he's a bit of an anomaly. He can play left wing or right wing back. A little bit of a strange one, but he is 18 years old. He is one for the future, clearly. He has come in for a fee of 2.2, raising to 2.9 million. They've also brought in Marco Sportiello, who is another goalkeeper again. He's come in, he's 35 years of age, clearly, and as a backup goalkeeper. He has come in for a fee of 1.5, rising to 1.9 million. Jairo Madrid, another new gen player, is a central defender, Colombian 18-year-old. Naturally very fit, pretty good stats for his age, actually. He is very good. Definitely one for the future as well. Zigor Amorortu, I'm going to say, is a Spanish left winger. He's come in again, 18 years old. Postecoglou clearly building for the future as we move forward. He's come in for 6.75 million, rising up to 9 million in total. And Arthur Malay is another new gen player. He's a left back, French 18-year-old. Again, building for the future. He's come in for a fee of 3.4, rising to 4.4 million as well. So Andrea Carboni has departed the club. He didn't play a single senior game for the club. He's left for Lecce at the age of 26. He has joined for 7.25 million as well. Ben Davies has gone to Leicester for 6.75 million. He was on loan with them last season. They've made that a permanent deal. Jed Spence has joined Southampton for 3.7 million. Brian Hill has left on a free transfer at the end of his contract. Silas Mvempa has gone to Everton for 23 million, rising to 25.5 million. It's a very, very small amount of profit on him. Guzman has gone on loan, Guiri's gone on loan, Saito Pavlidis has gone on loan again. Jamie Donnelly's gone on loan, Ryan Ward's gone on loan. Andres Noper, again, goalkeeper was brought in just last season. He's gone out already. He's left for a fee of 5.25 million, rising up to 6.5. A few more loans going on here with some of the youngsters. We do see that Joseph Parkin has left as well. Pape Matarsar has left at the end of his contract, as has Sam Allen, who is a new gen as well. So season 4 is the end of Postecoglou's current contract. Given that he has won a trophy, you would assume that he probably will get an extension on the back of that. Given the previous 3 years were a little bit up and down, if Postecoglou is given a contract that will be based on winning a trophy in his final year. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to simulate forward another season to see how he gets on in season 5. So we're into season 5 of the Postecoglou reign at Spurs, and as you may notice from the screen immediately, it has not gone so well. Postecoglou has been sacked. Johnny Heidegger has come in as the new manager. Harry Kane is still there. Guendouzi is now vice captain. Again, that makes me a little bit uneasy. Let's have a look first of all at the player stats, and then we'll see where it all went wrong. As you can see, it's been okay. Looking at Harry Kane, he scored 14 goals this season. Again, not a great performance. Dejan Kulusevski contributing 17. Diogo Jota coming in there with 15 goals, and we'll come to that in just a few minutes. Again, a few goals spread around the rest of the team. A few players here all out on loan, and not really much to discuss on them. Actually, not an awful lot going on there. Let's have a look at the transfers, because there is one that I've just noticed that we missed. If we go all the way back to the end of season 1, these are two that I missed. I actually missed them because they came in at season 2, but they really came in at the end of season 1. Spurs did sign Marcel Sabitzer from Bayern Munich for 9.75 million, rising up to 12.5 million. He came in at the very end of season 1 after we reviewed the season, but before season 2 started, literally the day after. And then a couple of days later, Jakub Kaminski came in as well, who is a Polish winger. He can play at left back, right back. He can play wide left, wide right as well. Another very good player. He is 26 years of age now, so he joined the club. He was only 21, 22, give or take. A very, very good player has come in from Wolfsburg for a fee of 40 million, rising up to 40.5. So in total, really, Spurs spent 190 million at the end of the first season. Looking at the current season's transfers, Naheem Perez has come in on a permanent deal for 9.75. Patrick Schick has joined from Bayer Leverkusen for a free transfer. His contract ran out and he joined Spurs. Still very good stats for 32 years of age. The big one that we just mentioned, Diogo Jota coming in from Liverpool for 47.5, rising up to 61 million. He still has very good stats as well. Of course, he can play wide right, wide left. He can play up front as well. Moving on then to Oscar from Sevilla, coming in for 41 million, rising up to 53 million. Again, very, very good stats for a wide man, very good stats for an attacking midfielder. Great decision making, determination. He's fancy, he's got a lot of flair, he's got very good leadership, very good vision. Passing is excellent, technique is excellent, free kick taking is excellent, long shots is excellent. It's a very, very good player to bring in. If you're playing Football Manager and you're looking for an attacking midfielder, highly recommend him. Spurs also brought in another central defender in the shape of Morado. He's come in again for a large fee of 31 million. Another player I'm very familiar with. I've used him quite a few times. He is worth the money. It has to be said. If you're paying 30 million for a central defender, go get Morado. And they've also brought in Matthew Cox, another goalkeeper, young goalkeeper. He has come in on loan from Brentford. In terms of outgoings, Richarlison has joined Atletico Madrid on a free transfer at the end of his contract. Guzman has gone out on loan again. Cesar Araujo has joined Monterrey for 4.9 million, rising up to 6 million. He did spend a year on loan there, of course. This one is the biggest surprise of all, probably. Heung-min Son has joined Chelsea. He's 34 years of age when he joined. He's still got pretty good stats. He's joined Chelsea for 14.75 million, rising up to 18.75. Very, very surprised with that deal. A few more players going out on loan. The next big outgoing we have is Amine Aguirre. He had a very good first season. He spent the next couple of years out on loan, and he's now joined PSG for a deal worth 42.5 million, rising up to 47.5 million as well. Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg has gone to Al Nassr, probably not to play along with Cristiano Ronaldo by this stage. He has joined them for 23 million, rising up to 25.5, and a few more players gone out on loan as well. So in terms of competitions, as we see, Johnny Heidegger did take over, of course. He did finish runner-up in the FA Cup, losing 1-0 to Man City in the final. That's fine. you know, they've done well there. They did play Man City in the Carabao Cup third round as well, where they lost that one. So they, in terms of the cups, they've played Man City and they've lost. But that's fine. In the league, they did finish in 10th place overall. Having a look at the positions, a quick look at Postecoglou. He has come in for. He was sacked in November. We'll have a quick look at his career milestones here. Jobs. He was sacked on the 20th of November. So having a look at the league positions, we will see that on that date, Spurs were, what's this, October, we're looking at 20th November was a 2-1 loss to Leicester. That saw Spurs sitting in 14th position. It wasn't the lowest position they were in during the season. Before Postecoglou got sacked, he was in 3 weeks in worse positions. Since he was sacked, they spent 4 weeks in total below that position as well. But they did claw their way back up, and towards the end, they got a few decent results, apart from a 4-0 defeat to Arsenal. And on the final day of the season, they beat Wolves 2-1 to finish in 10th position. So the first 4 seasons for Postecoglou did go okay. They were pretty good. He qualified for Europe. He won a trophy, which is what Spurs fans crave the most. In terms of game time, he done that in 2027, which is a full 19 years since Spurs last won a trophy, which is a huge kick in the teeth. But Postecoglou has done okay. In terms of transfers, they haven't always worked out. In terms of league positions, it's been okay. They qualified for the Champions League 1 year by virtue of Man City winning the Champions League and that extra position going to the league as well. He did fail to qualify for Europe in one of those seasons as well. Of course, they didn't have European football in the first season, but that was the previous regime at fault really for that. So that's it. That's 5 years of Postecoglou in charge at Spurs. It's 4.5 years really. He's done okay, in my opinion. If he were to do that in real life, I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't be ecstatic about it. He won silverware. That's the main thing. That's what we want the most. But league form was not great. Didn't really represent the club very well in terms of the league. That is it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. We will be back with more videos in the future. Until then, thank you very much and take care. Thank you for watching this video. We really hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button below and you will be notified when new videos are available. You can of course like, share and comment as well. In the meantime, you can catch one of these recommended videos appearing on screen, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, thank you and take care.